We welcome Zeke Stokes, Vice President of Programs at GLAAD-Gay and Lesbian Alliance Against Defamation. Good to see you, Zeke.
Good to be here. Thank you for having me.
I say Trump. You say?
Erasure.
What?
We've seen this president, this administration, since day one, begin to erase our community. The first thing we saw was the appointment of an incredibly anti-LGBTQ cabinet to positions like commerce, education, positions that the previous administration had placed very pro-LGBTQ equality and acceptance leaders in those positions. We've been erased from those agencies. We saw the census dump the LGBTQ identifying question for the 2020
The president did that alone, did he? Is he driving all this?
He did actually do that alone.
Executive order?
It was not executive order. He can do that through a simple regulatory process. Absolutely. But we've also seen the LGBTQ websites deleted from all the agencies across the administration.
What's their thinking?
I think they're trying to appeal to a base that they believe doesn't support our community, but the truth of the matter is that Americans, by and large, support equality and acceptance for their friends and neighbors and family members. And we are those friends and family and neighbors and aunts and uncles and doctors and lawyers, and we're in every community across this country. So while the American community has been increasingly accepting equality for all people in the LGBTQ community, we're seeing this president actually take us backwards.
Top issues for GLAAD would be?
Well, we're
Top three.
Well, we're very focused on storytelling. That's what we do. We've been around for 30 years, and we really specialize in telling stories through the media, leveraging news, entertainment, film, television, gaming, comics, movies, music, to tell stories. We know that when you know someone personally who's LGBTQ, it's the most common denominator when it comes to accepting our community. But the second best thing is seeing it in the media, and that's why things like Will and Grace back in the 90s, Ellen coming out, Rosie O'Donnell, and so many others who have told their stories in very big, broad ways in the media have made such a difference for our community over the last 30 years. Now we're really focused, especially in light of this administration, on making sure that we don't turn the clock backward. We were living pretty large last year when this election took us by surprise, quite frankly. The Obama administration was incredibly supportive. We had repealed Don't Ask, Don't Tell. We had overturned the so-called Defense of Marriage Act in the courts. We had gotten marriage equality in 50 states in the District of Columbia. So this was a wake-up call for our community, and we're fighting back.
Secret, two quick things. What is this unity project called, Together Movement, involving some other groups have previously been discriminated against?
Sure. So this election, quite frankly, brought two things into real clear focus. The first was that we had to fight back, and we've talked a little bit about that. But the second thing is that we had to lock arms with all marginalized communities, and I'm talking about women, I'm talking about people of color, Muslims, immigrants, all those who are under attack from this administration, from this president. And this ampersand that I'm wearing actually is the symbol of that movement, and it's all about standing together across all communities, not only to fight back, but to stand up for equality, for acceptance, and the idea that America is made up of all of these things, not one thing.
Zeke, where does New Jersey stand in terms of policies and attitudes regarding the issues you care most about compared to the rest of the nation?
Well, New Jersey has had some great leadership that has really moved the ball forward on equality in the state at the state level. So there's some great policies on the books. What we're trying to make sure of is that we don't see states like New Jersey go the way of Texas, South Dakota, others who have put new laws on the books in this sort of new, very volatile political climate that actually turn the clock backwards. We've talked about so-called bathroom bills that keep transgender people from using the bathroom that aligns with their gender identity. And we've seen a lot of states seeing this opportunity, the opportunity of this administration to sort of circumvent the progress that's been made and turn the clock backwards. And so we're really on guard for that, but New Jersey's in a great place.
You know, speaking of New Jersey in a great place, I don't often talk about this on the air, but in the mid-1980s in the state legislature, in a different time, a different life, as a member of the legislature, I was proud to be the prime co-sponsor of the anti-gay and anti-discrimination bill against people based on sexual orientation. It failed miserably. It took 7 years in the state of New Jersey for this bill to pass. I was long out of the legislature in this business. But more importantly, the point is, it banned discrimination against people based on sexual orientation in housing and employment.
Right.
7 years.
That was a huge accomplishment.
Are we at risk at going backwards?
We are at risk of going backwards, and the media plays a critical role in that. When you see the news media focus so squarely on just a few issues, on just a few communities, really just covering the same thing over and over on both sides.
But sorry for interrupting,
Yeah.
minute have left. But public attitudes back in the 80s, trust me, it was almost impossible to get that passed. Public attitudes now are much more positive and accepting.
They are, and that's why there's this disconnect between what's happening in hearts and minds across this country and what's happening with this administration and with a lot of state legislatures who see this as an opening to move things backward. And it really goes to how important elections are in this country. And GLAAD is a nonpartisan organization. We don't get involved in endorsing or supporting specific
But
candidates.
who becomes the governor of New Jersey in November 2017 matters.
It absolutely matters, and who becomes the governor of every state across this country, and every congressional district, and every Senate race. Those are elections that matter, and they have dire consequences, not just for our community, but for all communities.
Zeke Stokes from GLAAD, I want to thank you.
Thank you.
Keep doing what you're doing every day.
Thanks so much.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
Check you out on State of Affairs next time. By the way, if you want to follow me on Twitter, you see how to follow me on Twitter. We'll let us know any issue that we should be covering. Catch you next time on State of Affairs. Thank you, Zeke.
State of Affairs with Steve Adubato is a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation, celebrating over 25 years of broadcast excellence. State of Affairs with Steve Adubato is brought to you from the Agnes Veris NJTV studio at 2 Gateway. Funding has been provided by TD Bank, the New Jersey Education Association, the New Jersey Office of the Insurance Fraud Prosecutor, RWJ Barnabas Health, JAG Physical Therapy, Horizon Blue Cross Blue Shield of New Jersey, and by Choose New Jersey. Promotional support provided by Observer New Jersey Politics. And by Jaffe Communications, where business, media, and government converge in New Jersey.